In this episode of Down Empire, we put on-site fuel to the test so we can test drive the new turnkey Bronco. Don't get excited, guys. This is a boring update. Fuck yeah, this thing goes good. Okay, folks, so what we've got going on this week is a bunch of very unorganised stuff. We've had heaps going on the last couple of days, and unfortunately I didn't really capture pretty much anything because for those who have seen, this is the set of my camera here on the go, for those of you who have seen my Instagram story, maybe a month or so ago, I reached out to my followers, anyone who seen the posts. Basically, I'm looking for, or was looking for, a sort of a part-timer. So I had a bunch of people reach out, so thank you for everyone who did. And today, yesterday, I had Matt come in for the first time, and I put him on to a couple of things that we had to get done this week. First up being the NL Fairlane that was on the hoist. And while it was on the hoist, I figured we'd sort out power steering rack. I had that reconditioned last week. And what else we do? We done a new air compressor we put on, air conditioning compressor. The old one was knackered, so we put a second-hand one on that. Done a service on it. Just a bunch of boring little things, but super necessary.
Super necessary.
Man, this is already going to be long-winded, I can tell. So anyway, bottom line is the NL is all sorted and it's now off the hoist for the first time in months. It is sitting over here, awaiting me to give it a wash. I was going to wash it yesterday, never got around to it, so I might do it tonight. So yeah, that's back. The only thing I have to do now is put shocks in the back of that. I ordered new shocks. I had everything ready to go to get that car all buttoned up. Just running repairs on that thing, but unfortunately I ended up with the wrong shocks. I don't know why. Did I order the wrong shocks? Did they send the wrong shocks? Don't know, probably my fault, but nonetheless, it's got no shocks in at the moment. Then today, we also done a few little things on Andrea's car that wasn't running right. What did we do on that? I done a trans service on that last night after Matt had left, and then today I done a few other things I've already forgotten, but basically that's running a hell of a lot better. It was running a little bit shitty. We had some vacuum lines that had come loose, and once again, just running repairs. Now, today, we done some Bronco stuff. Once again, I apologise, guys. I didn't get anything. It was a lot of sort of Winnie Pooh. She wants me to play with the ball. Today on the Bronco was a lot of fault finding, and I wanted this thing to be able to run off the key up until now. I've basically been hot wiring it every time. I just wanted to sort of get the thing running, and isolating the problem wasn't on the list of things on my priority list, basically. And I got Matt to suss that out. He is obviously far better than I at chasing wiring, so he basically ran it back to the ignition. We actually had a weak ignition, so basically everything was running right and we had 12 volts everywhere. But when we try and crank it, by the time the wiring come through to the ignition and then back out the loom, it was dropping voltage, was dropping current, one of the two anyway. And so a static test was showing that everything was working, but in reality it wouldn't work. So when we hot wired it, it would work. So that's something I'd never seen before personally. So that's a good one to bear in mind. If you're cranking, don't always assume that you've still got 12 volts at the other end. Freaking hell. Once she starts, she don't stop. I'm gonna throw a new Bosch. This was for the Dart, but I had it anyway, so I may as well run that rather than the 40-year-old bloody coil, which may even be factory, who knows, but I figure we'll put a fresh one on it for for the sake of doing it, basically. And then going in here, so as you'll see in previous episodes, I put this carb on. It's basically a Holy rip-off, but it's a quick fuel. Now the difference with this style carb is that it has fuel feeds to the front and the rear bowl, as you can see right here, 1, 2, which means that this thing here is now in the way of the coil bracket, of course. So I had to make a little offset bracket, just time consuming stupid shit. Come on, Winnie. So I've now made an offset bracket which sort of steps it out about 40-50 mil. So I should be able to run the coil in almost the factory position, because up until now it's just literally been sitting in the on the intake manifold, and that's no good. So we need to mount this thing up. So I made this little bracket with some scraps, painted it up, bolted it all up. So now it's got to bolt it into the manifold where it's supposed to go, and then I'll run the wires to there, try and make everything neat, and then this finally for the first time will be a turnkey car. Yeah, stoked on that. Another thing we done while we were farting around, we pulled off the air compressor. Now this is called a York. The brand is called York. They ran on all the early Fords. They actually have a little crankshaft in there and 2 pistons that pump up and down and compress the air. Basically it's just an air pump, and that will no doubt be knackered. So what I plan on doing is getting a rebuild kit for that. It's actually the front housing, and apparently from what I've YouTubed, the front housing is the part that always leaks on these things. So I'm going to try and source one of those bad boys, fix that, and then pop that back in the truck, which means we'll have, hopefully, provided there's no other issues, which there probably will be, factory air conditioning on this thing. So that's awesome. Another thing I sorted. So many things, and I got none of it. I'm so sorry, guys. But this pump, the power steering pump, was disconnected. Both hoses were off the back of the thing, and when we bought it, we got told the power steering pump's knackered. So I nearly started pulling that off, and I was like, hang on a second, let's just double check here, because someone else's idea of knackered isn't always correct. So after looking at this bottom hose, which is the high pressure hose, this is just this one here is the return line. The high pressure hose was fucking munted, like really badly. But because I want to fix things like yesterday and I didn't want to get new parts and shit, I put it on the bench, I hammered it straight, like the bolt had all stretched and twisted and rounded and it was fully fucked. So I sort of tried to hammer it back into a hexagon again, and then I ground it down to the next spanner size, and then I also made a little locking C-clip. It's really hard to explain, but basically like a little C-clip that pops in there and it retains the nut. I made one of those out of like an old spring, and I managed to finally get it to work after farting around for ages, and after a little bit of finessing, it finally has held up, and it seems, touch wood, to be dry. So that's almost too good to be true. But after filling it up, cranking it up, it's this thing has power steering, and so far I can't see any major leaks. I'm sure there's going to be a reason why this won't fucking work. Leaves are ugly as sin. Hey, not enough. Alright guys, you will now see we have Bosch GT40 mounted in nearly factory position. We have cheapy Chinese chrome air cleaner, which is likely to rust before we even drive it for the first time. But nonetheless, it's going to keep the weather out of this thing. And the last thing we've got to do is we've got to run a full Raceworks fuel system in this thing. That's going to be coming up in a little while. So until that is all in place permanently, we've still got ourselves a little makeshift. So let's see if this thing wants to bang off the key. Already I've got no ignition. Oh, here we go. Interesting. Boom. Gotta be happy with that. Oh, dude, look at this. The lights even work. That's incredible. And interior light works. Bullshit. Tail lights. This thing's practically new. Damn, I can't believe that. Oh, let's see if this thing drives now. We're nearly out of fuel and the fan belt is now squealing because we've got a little bit of pressure going through that power steering pump, but I'm happy with that. That's freaking sick. We'll go around and get some fuel. I'll get half this crap out of the car. Look at it. This thing rules. And it's so easy, look at this, single-handed, one finger steer, love it. All right, apart from that stupid fuel pump, this thing is pretty much like off the key. That's wicked. It's actually feeling like a thing now. So this is my fuel tank for now. Going through a litre at a time pretty quickly. So I'm going to top that up with a Golden Fleece fuel tank and we'll try and fire it back up again and see if it's just as easy to run as it was the first time. All right, so fuel goes in and we get about a litre of fun right now. $2 worth. Let's see how she wants to go. Now, so far, I've still got power steering and it's still full. I can't believe it's actually working. It's not even humming. Oh, fuel fucking pump. All right, so the last piece of the puzzle is this fuel pump. Let's put a switch on, I suppose. But it's only temporary. Let's see how we go, guys. Perler. It actually sounds nice. The indicator's on. I'm not sure if it's actually working. It is so sketchy driving with no fucking seat. Alright guys. For those who have Falcon or Bronco parts, I need a good pair of seats for this thing. Preferably cream tweed or anything cream. Fuck man, this thing goes good. This goes good, and with the power steering, it is a dream to drive. This is awesome. Alright, gotta be happy with that. The revs are kind of high and the brakes kind of bad, but sick. That's a win, guys. See you next time.